Welcome, everyone. I'm Carmen Balaciano, and this is Awaken Leadership Live. I'm so glad you're here with us today. This series is about leading from the inside out, bringing presence, purpose, and heart into how we show up as leaders. So take a moment, settle in, and get ready for the conversation full of insights and inspiration with a very special guest, Deborah Keller. Deborah is someone whose leadership is rooted in wisdom, integrity, and deep care for the world we are shaping together. Over the years, Deborah has helped shift the narrative in business, and she played a pivotal role at Arta Impact, helping channel capital into purpose driven ventures around the world, proving that finance can serve people and the planet, not just profits. Today, through Sunheart Switzerland, Deborah partners with visionary entrepreneurs to build culture of clarity, care, and ethical alignment, where performance is rooted in presence and growth is guided by value. Welcome, Deborah. How are
Thank
you
you.
feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Thank you, Carmen. I was very much looking forward to this conversation and I had a great morning. So I'm feeling energized. We had a nice morning breakfast session with investors and entrepreneurs and businesses. And it's always very enlightening listening to these businesses on the ground, um, having a mission and trying to change something in this world and also seeing their purpose in their business. And that's very energizing for me. I think that's what keeps me going. So I'm very happy to be here and continuing the conversation with you now.
I'm so excited as well, and I'm so excited to hear a bit about your experience today. I know you've had so many conversations like this, and you're bringing so much impact. What can you share about how can businesses be more rooted in depth, in clarity, and purpose, and how this can bring more value for them and for the world?
Mm. As a business owner and as an entrepreneur, I think when one starts has a very clear vision or mission where they would want to go to, and they also are probably also clear about their values, which they're always going to stick to, also in bad times. And when you have a business involving around that, around your purpose and where you want to go and where you can embed your values, I think you're on a wonderful path. And this is where the work that we do with Sunhearts and also that you used to do in the past, more in impact investing, which is so impactful in a way that these business owners they follow something they truly believe in and something they can change and something they believe they can change. I think that's even the more important bit. So having this vision as a guiding star that you are following and you're going through ups and downs and you're just making your path and supporting those businesses alongside and trying to help them as they grow, because these are small businesses at the beginning, and as they grow they will encounter many different obstacles in a way where they have to stay true to their values and to make their business successful, because we also say that you cannot, once you have your values and mission, you should never drift from them. You should stick to them in bad and good times. And you should attract people to your business that believe in that. And you should attract investors that believe in your vision. And in order to do that, you need to live your values in your day to day. They need to be part of your operations. They need to be part of your meetings. You need to, I always say, you need to try those values on. You need to wear them and put them on someone else on, and you need to talk about them, and only then they become reality, and they become a shape, and they're part of people day to day in that business. And I think that's the most beautiful part, working with businesses and making sure that they stay on track with their beliefs and where they want to go.
So I hear from you that the risk of writing the values somewhere on the wall and forgetting about them, or just writing them in presentations and talking about them every once in a while, it's not it's a big risk, right? If you're not wearing it and you really tested it and felt it that these are yours and they're part of the business, you can easily get lost. And what comes to my mind right now, if you can give us any examples of, but without naming names, of course, of situations where entrepreneurs have to make really tough decisions, and because they were not very deeply rooted in values and in their purpose, the original purpose, they might end up getting lost. And so, from an awakened leader who wanted to change something and really make an impact in the world, they end up getting lost somewhere on the path. Do you have an example like that?
Yeah, I mean, especially on the investor search, it's so crucial to know who you want to attract. And first it starts with yourself, of course. Do you have you truly understood who you are and what you stand for? And that's the inner work you need to start with. And once you've understood that, you will understand what people you would want to have around you, whether it's in your private life or for your business. But once you have understood who you want to attract for your business and what people resonate with you and they can contribute something good to your business, you will have a much refined filter of what people you want to attract. And what I saw very often in the past is as a business owner and as a startup, you go through tough times. You need money. You need capital support, knowledge support, and you're willing to take it from anybody because you're in that fear where you say, "I need it. I just anyone give it to me." And then you'll be okay to take it from someone that you maybe don't feel that comfortable with. But as things go, and we still live in economy, and it will always be that way, that money is power. And when money is power, money means also that people that bring money in will be able to decide also. And then you've given up on your values, and then you'll be giving up on them also there. And you're like, oh, that will be fine, that's okay. But this little gap will grow and grow and grow. And at one point of your life or in your business journey, you might look back and think, this is not the business I've built. This is not the people I wanted to attract. They don't fit in my business. These are not the investor I wanted to attract. And then soon, as an investor that has put a lot of money in, you expect a lot of return, right? And then you're going to push for scaling. If an entrepreneur would say, no, that's the perfect size that I have today, you can't say no. You'll have to go for scaling. So once you leave your values, you're going to relive your values. But there's one crucial learning when you stick to your values, even when fear kicks in or when you're going through bad times and you trust them and you stick to them, life will reward you and you'll find the right people. Because letting go your values is never the solution. It's when you stick to them, you will find your path and the right people that will help you build your business. And it's so important that you make that experience because once you made it once, you will do it twice and three times and you'll never leave your values. And therefore it's so important when you start your business, stick to them. No matter how rough things get, stick to your values.
I feel like we already can stop the conversation now because you've given so much in only 5 or 10 minutes. It's amazing. I feel your energy and your passion for values and how important it is. I really hope that this will inspire our listeners to, in whatever part of the business they are, in whatever part of the world, that they can really start doing the inner work. Actually, it's all about that, going deep, understanding your values, and then connect those values with the business so you'll never forget. And don't make compromises. This is what I'm hearing from you. Don't compromise. There will always be money, there will always be help, and there will always be people who can partner with you because they come from the same place. So that like approach.
And sometimes in a very different way, Carmen. Sometimes we saw also organizations that were looking for funding because they thought, we need an investor. And an investor is always the quick fix because he's bringing money in, right? And when they stick on their journey, realizing, understanding what is making them wanting an investor, and when they realize, oh, it's a fear that I have, not being able to survive or not having a salary. But sometimes the solution isn't always the quick fix. And when you stick to those values, you'll understand that maybe a solution you had in mind might be something completely different once you stick to your values. You might not even need an investor. You might find someone who supports you another way, or a business partner who comes in and invests something in to support the ongoing journey. So I think it's very interesting also when you stick to the values, you also start understanding what you need to look out for, and you be open to the opportunities that life gives you to transform your business and grow your business.
What you're explaining right now reminds me of a conversation we had a while back about trusting life, and I feel like this is so connected to that conversation. And awakened leadership is often involves to surrender, to step into the unknown and trusting something greater than oneself and let go of the illusion of control. Um, have you have an example of a relationship or a situation in which you trusted life to bring you the results you were hoping for? Maybe it was not what you thought you needed, but then life, because of the trust in life, it brought you something that you needed the most, but you didn't even realize in that moment that
Mhm.
that's what you needed.
So starting with I think that that part of trusting life, I mean, I'm very thankful and grateful that it was given to me as a child. My mom is from Eritrea. She had a rough childhood, and she has gone through a lot of crisis herself, or difficult times as a child. And my father as well, he's grew up here in Switzerland, and he's very but also a child from 12, a family of 12 or 13 kids. And so and they found each other, and growing up with them taught me a lot about the uncertainties in life. So as we traveled around the world, and were in different areas around the globe, also in areas where I remember being for 2 years in Yugoslavia, when there was a war starting as well. But there was something about that, what they did really well is that uncertainty, not letting it take over of your emotions, and trust life that things will be okay, they will be good. They might not look good at the moment, but there might be also a reason why you are in that moment, because there is so much learning you can take with you. And and because I made this experience over and over again, because with my family, as we traveled, we always experienced phases where things were more difficult. And my father, there was times where he didn't know, will we have enough money tomorrow to buy food? But they never lost trust that things will be okay. And I think that trust in life, and that understanding and knowing that actually life will always serve you well, and will always give you the opportunities you need in your life to grow from, to learn from. And when you can adapt that perspective and look at challenges this way, it is, you will try to find the silver lining that you can take with you. And I think that's something I learned a lot about when I grew up as well, encountering challenges. And what was your second question, Carmen, about the
If you had a moment, let's say recently, where you felt, even in a relationship or in a situation where you said, okay, this is my challenge now to trust life.
yeah.
Maybe I want something, like, you were giving the examples of investments, right? And if
Mhm.
I want investment, but maybe sometimes you say, okay, yeah, I think I know what I want, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure. I want to surrender and trust life and see what.
Yeah, I had that a few times, but one of the most vivid example I have in my head is when we started our journey with Sunheart Switzerland, in the early days when we founded the company. We realized that there's so much we need to, and also to put into, in order to grow that company, in a way that we saw it. And as we're going ahead thinking about our strategy, we always thought about, it's so important that we bring someone external in that invests into this business so we can grow accordingly, and make sure that we can achieve the goals that we want to. And soon also, that was a big learning for us as well, as we were talking and trying to understand why we need that investor, and why should an investor come in and support us. We soon realized the same thing with, is it our fear that we won't survive as a business and that's why we're looking for an investor? Or do we feel safe where we are today, and do we believe in our business? And that's the big thing. That part of believing is so powerful. Once you come to that point, you really believe in your vision and your mission, what you can achieve, those fear will fall away. And then you will also understand that maybe that idea of bringing an investor in, and it was clear for us, we don't need one, we'll manage. And and it was beautiful to see how this came in place, this came in place, this came in place, and then this came in place. And where we stand today, we're very happy. Where Sunheart stands today, we're very happy. We couldn't be in a better place. And sometimes life offers you an opportunity that you didn't even think of. But when you stick to those values and you stick to your mission, then you will see them, and they will come to you. And I think that's so important also for a business owner, to think much further than what you believe you can achieve. So it's not about your strategy that you want to reach 10,000 people. It's about what you want to change in the world, and start thinking and talking about that. Because when you do that, you give them your strategy and your business a whole different momentum, because you go much further. And then when you talk to people, they will understand and they will feel that you have this big vision, what you want to achieve and what you want to change in the world.
And what we are talking about right now is having this big purpose and a mission to make, to change something in the world. And I'm so proud of you and what you achieved at Sun Hearts. And I'm sure that you trusting life and Karen trusting life, you together trusting life, brought the results that maybe you did not even expect, and kept away maybe some struggles and some difficulties by bringing in an investor with complete, with maybe aligned on values, but with different ideas about what it means for you to grow the business. And what I hear from what you're saying is the message for people to really believe in themselves. So not only trust life, but believe in yourself and the connection you have with that purpose. You are here for a reason. You came here for a reason to bring certain value. Trust your value. Trust the value that you can bring. So it's so beautiful and inspiring. Thank you for sharing this. And I know that you've been working on a lot of very important projects throughout your time at Sun Hearts, but also with Arta Impact. Is there a particular project or initiative that you feel has a big impact in the world, and why? How is that connected with that big purpose?
I think yeah, there are a few projects and beautiful projects we encountered with Sun Hearts and with Artha Impact, and also with Impact for Breakfast, the network, is those businesses or those business owners that have. So let's go further back. As investors, and at that time also when I was working for Artha Impact, we were investors from Europe, investing into countries like Africa or India. And for Artha Impact, it was India, investing in businesses that grew there, and the entrepreneurs are Indian. And as an investor, we very often think we understand how things work. We think, because we also have the money, and we've invested in few businesses already, that we have this clarity about how a business should be set up and how a business should grow and scale. But there is so much more knowledge as an investor we need to tap into when we build and invest into those business. And any businesses that has an approach where they first try to understand their beneficiaries, the people that they want to meet their needs, or their a product that they want to bring out. And those businesses that have understood that what is needed should have a much bigger voice in the investment that we're doing. And we should hold back with our knowledge that we have, because automatically it is also accepted and seen as important because we bring the money. But we should empower them, taking a position where they lead on their business because they understand. And that's where it comes back about believing. It's not just believing about in ourselves, but also believing in others and empowering them that they can change it on their own. We just bring the money. We might bring other connections and network, but they are the ones that have understood. They have their business was born out of a misery or a thing that they've experienced in their life. And we have to empower them so much more that they can manage that. They can manage also the stakeholders. And it's less about us bringing a finished, ready solution that we put over them and say, this is how you need to do it. And those businesses, and I call that also a holistic approach, these are the ones that are trying to understand what, because they also have a very good understanding what is good for the greater whole, what is good for my business and the community around there. They will understand what partners are needed to fuel that business. And when these people are also very well connected to their purpose and want what they want to achieve, they will also understand how big their piece of cake should be in that partnership, in that project. Because it's not always about trying to maximize everything from oneself, but it's about understanding where your place is. And in the next project, your cake might be bigger. In another project, it might be smaller. But also respecting and trying to understand the greater whole. But only the entrepreneurs who is from that country will understand what is the best for the greater whole, and not us as an investor. And I think that's such an important thinking and perspective that investors need to bring in if they want to make those initiatives and projects impactful. And I've seen a few of these, and it's beautiful to see how those business owners, how wide they think when you give them the belief and the empowerment that they can do it well.
I really love what you're saying, specifically about us as investors coming from, let's say, first worlds going into third worlds, investing to keep our ego down, that we know everything and we can do everything better, because there's so much more knowledge on the ground and so much more connection to the purpose, that if we come too loud, we might not hear, we might not create the space for the truth to be heard, and for those voices to really feel, and those people to really feel empowered to make those changes. Because it's not only about the investment, the financial investment, it's about the energy of changing something in that particular environment.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. It's a big lesson, I guess, to all of us when it comes to ego, and what's the driver in the end? Do I come from a place of fear of I want to make more money, or I come from a place of love, and like you mentioned before, trusting that the people there, they can actually bring a lot of value if we give them the chance, the opportunity to be a part of
And
it.
that potential, I think there's so much untapped potential also between investors and entrepreneurs. Because so if someone needs to believe in these businesses, it's the investor, because they are bringing the money in, and they're putting, with money you put energy into a business, right? So you say, take my money, I believe in you. And when you try to interfere and bring in your ego, as you say, and trying to take room because you're the investor, you're actually working against that business as well, because this person that has built that business needs that belief that comes from the investor to grow even much further than they can. I see businesses that we work with at Sunhearts, they will not, so there are labels that they can get and recognitions, and they say, no, I don't want them, because if I do that, I place myself right there, and this is my bar, but I don't want that bar. I want to go much further. I want to go beyond. I don't want to let those different how you call those those different, like the organic, those labels that you get.
Like certifications or labels. Yeah, you said
Yeah.
labels. Yeah.
I don't want that label,
Yeah.
because I promise you, I'm going to go much further than this label, because in every moment in my business, in my strategy, I will try to understand how I can improve, how I can do better, how I can go further. And this is for us true business ethics, is understanding what you can do in your position with your business. And so and keeping the overview of what is good for the greater whole. And when a business, an entrepreneur has understood that, that's true business ethics and being ethical in your day to day.
It's beautiful, and thanks for explaining that, because sometimes these labels, these measuring sticks, this they can limit us quite a lot. And I want to take a moment now to ask our audience to send their questions in the chat. Let's see if we have time for one question from the audience for you. And in the meantime, I'll ask a question because I feel a lot of it resonates for a lot of people. Um, it's, in this fast moving time, and with all this pressure, high pressures from environment, from society, it's very difficult to stay grounded and aligned with our inner values. What do you do? Do you have a regular practice, a daily practice, or a habit that anchors you in your awakened leadership style?
I think it's the quiet mornings. So I have two children, and before everyone gets up, when everything's quiet, I think for me these are very important moments where I can just sit down with a glass of water and let everything sink and try to also go within me, trying to understand where am I today and where do I stand in life? Is everything going according to my values? Is am I raising my children according to my values? Am I having relationships according to my values? And trying to, and we all have our challenges, and trying to look at those challenges and learn from them, and yeah, embrace them in a way, because they are such an important part of our life. We wouldn't be the human being we are today if we didn't have all those challenges that that made us grow out of them. And trying to also decide for myself, not in moments in the day-to-day things, when they get rough or they're in a high speed, is also trying to ground myself. Where where am I reacting, or where am I consciously acting? And that's what I try as well, but more during the day, trying to take myself back, and before I say something or decide on something, is, have I connected what I'm hearing and seeing with who I am? And now I want to react to it how I see myself, and not because my emotions have taken over. And I think that's what I also try to do during the day, and ground myself here and there when it's possible.
Oh, that's beautiful, and I'm happy to hear that with two small children, you still find the time to have a quiet moment and ground yourself with your values, and do kind of a like a retrospective of relationships, events, what's helpful, and what's not so helpful, what's aligned and what's not aligned. It's a wonderful practice, and thanks for sharing. I also recommend to our audience meditation whenever is possible. It could be like an active meditation, like you are doing it, inquiring about the journey, or even just taking a moment to breathe and stay in the nature with your feet on the ground, relax, look at the sky, put the hand on the heart, and just feel the heartbeat, and being happy to be alive. So
Mhm.
whatever it is, it doesn't require much. Whatever it is, something very, very small to give us a moment to reconnect is very useful. And we are almost at the end, dear Deborah. I have one more question for you. And because I would love for you to leave something for our audience, maybe a powerful message about awakened leadership, something that to give them hope, maybe, or to remind them in difficult moments how they can stay on this journey of awakened leadership.
I think, I mean, what has been really working well for me is, in this world where things seem difficult, and we are very privileged to live in a world here in Switzerland where things are safe, and we are safe. And but also for us, I think we can also get lost in that. And when you have found your values, and who you believe, who you would like to, who you like to be also, and who what you represent, I think trying to understand, because reality, what we see, is something that we experience. And I think we can empower ourselves to build and shape our reality of things. And this is such we envision and see things in our life for our family or where we want to go for ourselves. And the more you make that picture vivid of yourself in that future where you want to see yourself, and you do that over and over again, I think you can also call it manifestation. But the more you make that real in your head, it will become reality. And the more you attract people that support you, they will support building you on that reality. And bigger your network that believes in the same reality, it will become reality. So reality is very subjective. It's something that we believe we see, and there's another reality out there, and it's different. But believing in that reality and attracting people around you in your life, business or private, that believe in that same reality is so powerful. And that reality suddenly becomes a lot more reality for many people around the world.
Deborah, this has been insightful and inspirational. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your journey, your wisdom, and your heart. And let's leave a question for the audience, like you said. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we encourage you to reflect on this conversation and think of what do you need or what's missing for you to create the reality and the environment and the relationships that you would like to have, the life that you like to live, and the leadership that you want to lead. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Take good care.